Hi, I'm Pete from Kempton Arms Fair. Today I'm going to be showing you my two Rarest production air guns. They are a Webley Mk1 rifle and an Anson Star pistol. Now over to Matt.
Thanks Pete. I'm going to tell us a little bit about these fantastic air guns. Let's look at the rifle first. So this is the Webley Mk1 air rifle. It's not called the Webley Mk1 service, just the Webley Mk1. It's a barrel over cylinder spring piston air rifle, and this particular example is in 177. It came out in 1925 and it followed on from the huge success of the Webley Mk1 air pistol, which came out in 1924. The Mk1 rifle is just a scaled up version of the pistol. It's got the same mechanism and the same barrel hatch. It was made in Birmingham until 1932, when it was superseded by the Mk.2 service. This was a much larger air rifle, much more bulky, had more parts, more components, and it was more sophisticated. But personally, I quite like the carbine size of the Mk1. It's tiny, it's very compact, beautifully made, as you'd expect from Webley, and yeah, it's the first time I've seen one and I really like it. Very, very nice. You can see it's got the same barrel catch as the pistol, and it's got the same cocking mechanism as most of the Webleys. So the barrel doesn't actually detach from this one, it's fixed, and yeah, it's very simple, but it works really well. Peter has given me a reproduction of the booklet that came with the rifle. It's got some nice instructions on how to cock and load the rifle. It's got a cutaway drawing showing how it works. And some specifications, as well as accuracy that's expected at different distances. Some very nice accessories, all of which are now highly sought after by collectors. And a parts list. Yeah, nice little booklet. So what is it that makes this rifle rare? Let's have a look at it in relation to the ptdunk rarity scale. First of all, numerical. There were only approximately 1,500 made and not that many have survived, which takes us on to availability. They rarely come up for sale, and the ones that are often in poor condition or have been unsympathetically refinished, which then takes us on to condition. So this is my idea of an ideal condition. It's not perfect, but it's well used and it's got a nice even patina. And there's nothing that stands out as being bad, and it's usable. Very, very nice. Then rarity interest. So rarity interest is pretty huge on this rifle. Webley is one of the most collectible airgun makes, and as the Mk1 was Webley's first air rifle, it is very desirable for vintage Webley collectors. Now, Pete has got a little ace up his sleeve in the rarity interest stakes, and that is that this is part of a pair. He's got them in both calibers, so one is in 177 and one is in 2.2. But not only that, but they are sequential serial numbers. They are 1241 and 1242. That's amazing. Apparently he had the first one for about 20 years, and then the second one came up for sale, and obviously he had to have it. They are in very similar condition, which is pretty rare in itself. So this is a fantastic set. He's put them in this case, which was made for another Webley air rifle. It's got a hand-painted sign on it. Beautiful. And they fit. So this set of two Mk1s, both in similar condition, in 177 and 2.2, in sequential serial numbers, has got to be one of the ultimate vintage collectible sets. Amazing. And a nice part of history as well. These were probably made on the same day, or finished on the same day in the factory in Birmingham. Amazing. Fantastic. You'd expect no less from Peter Binfield. Now a real treat is he's allowing me to shoot these. I've never shot one before, and this is a real treat. So we're filming at Bisley anyway, so we've popped out to the vintage range, and I'm just going to try and shoot a little HFT target. Now these aren't zeroed, so I'm going to shoot it and then we're going to try and see where it hit, if it didn't hit it. And I think it's hitting to the left. So I'm just going to aim a little bit to the right. Very nice to shoot, less faff than the Mark II service. You don't really have to do much, and obviously easier to cock than a pistol because the barrel's nice and long, and it's tiny. It's like a little carbine. Very, very nice. Trigger's a bit heavy though. Yeah, does the business. What's wrong with that? It's a real honour to be able to shoot this. It's fantastic. If it was mine, I would clean the barrel out, do a pellet test, find out which sort of pellets it liked. The trigger is adjustable, so I'd make the trigger a little bit lighter and zero it in. But for now, just trying to aim off target really to get what I'm aiming at. Put a can up on the back there at 25 yards. I'm going to try and hit that. I'll be honest with you, shot it quite a few times and couldn't hit it because I wasn't quite sure where the pellet was going. But it, you know, it's worth a try. But luckily, I know what the aim point is for this closer target. Well, I'll do one more at this little one. Like I say, I just aim to the right. Yeah, that was a fun afternoon. Very, very nice to shoot these. Because they're not mint, not scared to shoot them, which is nice. Fantastic little guns. Yeah, huge thanks to Pete for letting me shoot those. Lovely. Right, so that's the Webley Mk1. Now let's move on to the pistol. This is an Anson Star air pistol, very rare. It's an underlever, spring piston, concentric cylinder air pistol, and it's loaded via a breech screw. A concentric cylinder is where the barrel runs up the centre of the compression tube and the piston runs on the outside of the barrel, so the piston's got a hole in it. Very interesting design. It's very hard to cock. I could have cocked it all the way, but I was too scared. It doesn't belong to me, and it's very old and very valuable. So just demonstrate how that works really. It was designed by Edwin Anson in Birmingham, and yeah, these are very, very rare. So what do we know about this pistol? Not much. Luckily John Griffiths has written quite a lot about this. So if we go to our trusty Encyclopedia of Spring Air Pistols, 2nd edition, by John Griffiths, we can see that he's written a nice biography on Edwin Anson. Edwin Anson was a prolific air pistol designer. He was the first to use the pivoting grip to cock the pistol with his Wesley Richards highest possible. He was also the inventor of the fixed barrel moving piston concentric cylinder, as he did with his Wesley Richards highest possible concentric. And he was the first to use a side lever on an air pistol with the Warrior. There were no patents or catalogue images or literature references to the Anson Star, so it's a bit of a mystery. John Griffiths estimates that it was made in the late 1920s to the early 1930s. There were two variations John Griffiths calls the first and second series. The first series just had the star stamped on it, and the barrel is flush with the front of the cylinder. The second series has Anson Star stamped on it and has a small plate fitted to the end of the barrel, which protrudes from the front of the cylinder. Both of them have grips from a Frank Clark Titan Mark 7, and the pistol has been made to accept these grips. It also has the breech pin, which is identical to the Frank Clark Britannia pistol. These two features indicate some sort of connection with Frank Clark. Frank Clark is obviously very famous for having designed some fantastic air pistols, including the Titan range, and he was a significant contributor to the design of the Webley Mk1, which was the most successful air pistol design ever. He and Anson also collaborated on the design of the Warrior air pistol. It is possible that the first variant, marked with the Star, without Anson's name on it, were in fact manufactured by Frank Clark. The second series, marked with Anson's name, were almost certainly made by Anson, but were never assembled or sold by him. It was not until after his death in 1936 that the components for the gun were found in his workshop and were assembled by A. Brown and Son on behalf of the purchasers of Anson's business assets. The second variant are generally in better condition or have less wear than the first variant, probably because they were assembled much later after the war. Let's look at the ptdunk rarity scale and see how it fits in. Numerical. There are probably around 15 star pistols known in total. Of those, only 4 or 5 are of this earlier Series 1 version marked the Star. So they are very rare. In fact, John Griffiths said they have to be the rarest British production air pistol ever made. One of the reasons for the low production numbers was that they probably weren't that successful. They're quite hard to cock, they're smooth bore, and they have fixed rear sights. We don't know how much they would have cost because there are no adverts for them, but it probably came out at the same time as the Webley Mk1. And as we've already discussed on this channel, that was the best air pistol design ever. So the Star probably didn't sell very well. Availability. Obviously they very rarely come up for sale, and when they do, it's a bit of an event, and they get snapped up very quickly. Rarity interest. There is a huge amount of rarity interest in these pistols. One of the most desirable air pistols for anyone interested in early British air pistols. The Frank Clark connection is very interesting, and the fact that the Anson Star possibly involves the 2 most important air pistol designers ever gives huge rarity interest. Edwin Anson and Frank Clark were neighbours basically. This is a map of the southern part of the gun quarter. That's Steelhouse Lane, which is where Edwin Anson was, and that is Whittle Street, which is where Frank Clark was. And you can see they're practically neighbours. This is Steelhouse Lane today. Still some old buildings there. I think Edwin Anson was probably down the bottom. And this is Whittle Street, where Frank Clark was. He was at number 6. There's a new block there now. These were put up in 1988, but someone took a photo of this block in 1963, where they were documenting all of the old gun quarter before it was demolished, and Frank Clark's building was probably the one on the left. So we can see that is literally a stone's throw from Steelhouse Lane, so they're practically neighbours. Let's imagine it's the 1920s gun quarter in Birmingham. It's Friday night, all the gunsmiths will go to the nearest pub and have a few drinks. You might see Lincoln Jeffries and Frederick Stanley Cox lamenting over their bitter about what could have been. And away in the corner, you might have seen Frank Clark and Edwin Anson dreaming about the future of air pistols. Only in Birmingham. And this is what this pistol represents to me. It's a snapshot of that world in Birmingham in the 1920s. A time of crazy innovation and invention, and the golden age of British air pistol development. So there we go. What a fantastic air pistol. Thanks to Pete, that's brilliant. What a fantastic choice. Really enjoyed that. Very nice to see these things, and it was obviously great to shoot the Mk1. So, thank you very much. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.